For this video, we'll be taking a look at some of the more not commonly seen units or artifacts on units in the E7WC 2025 finals matches. There were 4 matches in the Lunatic Draft format. Once you start getting pretty deep into the games, you have to start digging for some options with everything being pre-banned. Some of these pocket picks worked very well, some of them not so well, but let's go ahead and take a look at them. This first one's a little bit unfortunate. We never actually got to see it do anything, but we can still talk about what it would have done. So here, Shao picks Inferno Khawazu on 5, first time in E7WC 2025. And this is because he knows that this Kayron is not the full tank 30k HP Kayron, it's the Lifesteal Bruiser Kayron instead. And we can see this in the... This is too far forward, but we can see this like in the very first turn. When LHC takes her turn, this Kayron takes almost 12,000 damage, and that is 70% of his HP. So definitely not the full tank Kayron. If Inferno Khawazu, he takes any AoE, and then he just S3s the Kayron, one-shots him, and that's pretty much it. So next up, we can take a look at Game 4 here. And I did a full analysis on this if you want to watch that. I'm just going to skim over what the texts were here. So Lethe's first appearance, of course, we're going to go into the match. This Lethe is an opener Lethe. This is because of the setup he was doing, where he had a slow Bruiser Muna instead. Well, not really Bruiser, it's just she has a ton of HP. She had 29,000 HP, and he wanted an opener to work with his Motorbake, so he picked a really, really fast Lethe. She has a free soul burn as well, so she can CR push him. And then also in the draft, he picked Silk and Muna on 1-2, so this was kind of a bait pick. So Muna and Lethe on their slow Bruiser Muna isn't that uncommon, but these were the 2 things that he did in this game. Like I said, I did a full thing on this if you want to check that out. I'm not going to say too much about this one. And then next up, we can look here at... So this game, Game 1 between Go Miaomi and Syak, I don't know how to pronounce that. Here he picks Green Landy, and this is honestly fine because you have none of these units have reach. You just ban Harsetti, and then the only unit that has reach is Peyra if she can soul burn her S1. So we go into the match though, and you'll see that Arya is on... I forgot the name of this artifact. Thorn of a Blue Rose? She's on the Crowd artifact. So Peyra here already has 10 souls to soul burn with, which means that that's not great, because now he can reveal the Landy. Which is exactly what happens. Peyra does her S3. And then you can just soul burn S1 to reveal the Landy. And then, now that Landy's revealed, Cowrick can just one-shot her. So poor Landy died without doing anything this game, but this would have been a decent game for her. The only reach is this Peyra, and she would be able to just spam so many S3s because of all of these buffs on them. So a little bit unfortunate that it didn't work out. And then there is another game here where... I don't think it's this one. I think it's Game 4. Yes, Game 4. We have this draft here. And then getting into the match. So he gets outsped, which is like fine. DJB kills. And then here he gets his Blood Aura proc. Blood Aura is pretty necessary for Haste to do damage. His damage is not very good without it. And here the Strelze S3 goes off, but Ross is the highest HP. Now the problem with this is that POV BMH Blood Moon Haste isn't very uncommon, but his Blood Moon Haste needs to be 30k HP here. If his Blood Moon Haste is higher HP than the Ross, then Strelze doesn't kill anybody. He can just S3 the Strelze and one-shot him with Blood Moon Haste. Instead, since his Blood Moon Haste is a lot lower HP, I think it was like 26k, the S3 goes into Ross instead. Ross dies, Strelze gets to do everything, and then at this point, he doesn't have enough to finish off the match. If he did have his Blood Moon Haste, like 30k HP, and then Ross lower HP, then he probably would have won, I think. the Balloon Haste would have just tanked the S3. Probably didn't get the S2 either. Vita wouldn't have procced her her S2. No, her stealth was gone, so the S2 would have still gone off. Because you can go forward a little bit, and then when Bloodmoon Haste does eventually use his S3, it's like way too late. You can see his HP here too, 26,000, not very, very high. But we can go forward to when he finally does use his S3. $26,000 HP. And this S3 does not kill the Straze, but if he had Blood Aura, he would have killed the Straze. He would have revived the Tori, and then Tori would have been able to like kill things, and he would have stabilized from there, I think. And then we also have we're going to be moving on to the Grand Finals, the first match. Very, very interesting pick here in Game 2. Violet first in E7WC 2025, and this is picked in maybe one of the worst possible situations for him, because you have New Kid added, you have Violet. Wonder Bloodwig has increased hit chance buff when he uses S2, and an AoE S3, so he can just hit both of them. And then Watcher Shuri also has 50% hit chance on his S3, plus his EE can make it 100% if you're not going Skill Nullifier. Those Skill Nullifiers are a lot safer, generally. So he bans the Shuri here. And then you go into the match. He goes ahead and gets his hit chance buff. And because he has ARAM, he doesn't even need the Soul Burn. He didn't have enough Soul for it. You can S3 the Bloodwig, the Bird's Eye View, gives him enough souls to Soul Burn S1 now for attack buff. He hits the add-in because he has the hit chance buff, and even if added dodges, it's fine. He has Skill Nullifier. We dropped the big S3, and yeah, add-in got hit, Violet got hit, so not the greatest debut for our guy. And he just kind of dies. Yep, that didn't work out very well. And then we have 2 more pocket picks in this match, actually. I'm trying to see if it was in the finals, maybe? Okay, I think it was in the finals, so let's go ahead. Oh, it's right here. So here, this match, you have Command Model Laika, a unit that's pretty much fallen out of meta for a while. You don't really see her at all anymore. And then you also have Red Shuri. Plus you also have this is the same aria with Thorn of a Blue Rose. So Red Shuri, his whole thing is that he CR pushes everybody by 25%, except for himself. 25% is ridiculous. That's such a high amount if he crits. Like a S2, you can dual attack and you can drag him, which sounds really good, but the problem with this team is he has no bridge. Like, he's gonna S2 here on this lane, sure, and they changed target a while ago where target doesn't just ignore damage share anymore, and this is Daydream Joker. Maybe he was doing Constellation or something and he forgot to swap it off. I think his only hope here was Sword of Judgment. If he had Sword of Judgment on Shuri and he double procs the S1, that would have pushed Arya all the way up to the top of the CR bar, and that might have given him a chance to do something here. Instead, you just do the Shu here, boom. I think Sword of Judgment double hit Shu into Arya might have been enough to seal the deal. But yeah, he just gets cut because no real method to bridge. So the Command Model Laika debut was not fantastic, nor was the Daydream Joker Shuri. And then later on here, we have oh, this was kind of interesting. So here, KJ picks his Twisted Eidolon Kayron again. And then we also have a debut from... Okay, this is taking a while. Commander Pavel, first in E7WC 2025. We can... Okay, well, I guess that spoils it, but we can take a look and see how this goes. The Sid outspeeds the Ran, and he didn't roll Gab from basket, though he did get crit damage buff. I say that balances it out. You go into the Kayron, that's the double crit Flan duel, and then you have Barrier from FSC, so no problem with the counters, but this is a very different Kayron from the one that he previously showed, because he's only at like half of his HP, and he took a Sid S1 plus a Flan duel plus Commander Pavel S2. In the very first match, we saw Inferno Khawazu come out against his lifesteal Kayron, but this is a full tank Kayron. And here, Commander Pavel has no soul burn. You can see this S3 goes in. Only a little under 12k damage, and the Kayron does not die. And that pretty much seals the deal. The Kayron just cleans up damage from here. So kind of interesting that it's a different Kayron. I wouldn't be surprised if he had two. Per the rulebook, you are allowed to re-gear between games. You can see it down here. Equipment swapping is only permitted between matches. This enter matches at least 10 minutes. I think that's for the online matches. For in-person, it's probably shorter because there was only a 10-minute gap in the first place between the end and the start of the matches. So he could have swapped his Kayron build, but knowing KJ, there's a pretty decent chance he has too. And then next up, let's go ahead a couple of matches to this one here, which had a lot of units getting picked. So we have Elagos and LRK, Galilius plus Eda. Going forward a little bit. Elagos and Galilius both get banned, so we won't get to see those two. For the very start of the match, you can see LRK has a brand new artifact, a Precious Connection. This is the artifact from the 7th anniversary check-in. It's basically Genesis Ross's artifact. It gives you more max HP and also 10 souls when you take your turn for your first 2 turns. Now this, some people were confused about whether or not this artifact is banned. This is a bit confusing because if you look earlier, I just had it right there. Okay, whenever that decides to load, Genesis Ross, Setsuka, and Lethal Whispers are all listed as being banned. Genesis Ross banned Genesis Ross is banned because he's unobtainable. It's straight up not possible to get Genesis Ross in the time that the World Cup starts. By the rulebook, it says that heroes and artifacts newly introduced into the game from 9/1 to 9/6 will be unavailable. Now, Genesis Ross was technically added to the game earlier than this. It's just he's not obtainable until after the matches end. A Precious Connection, on the other hand, was introduced to the game at the same time as Genesis Ross, but it was also not it was also not obtainable until September. So it depends on when they're looking at it, I guess. With Genesis Ross, he's just unobtainable at all, but a Precious Connection was introduced earlier than September, but not obtainable until September. I guess it's available. They probably went ahead and asked. So we can go ahead and go back to the match, which was this one here. So here, Eda is also a unit that you don't really get to see that often. She soul burns, you can see she pushes everybody back. And after eating up the 20 souls from her S2 soul burn for the extra turn, she S3s, Laika gets hit again. And a Precious Connection gives LRK the 10 souls that he needs to soul burn his S3. And that's pretty much it. I feel like Eda didn't do anything. LRK was just holding the artifact so he could soul burn S3. We're gonna skip to the end of this match just because even though there's no, like, nothing being shown off there, the end of this match is so ridiculous, I have to show it. So here, this match is more or less over. Flan has no focus because Solitaria is just, like, removing all of the focus. Shu is gonna get her turn. They're gonna be able to, like, Shu plus Altaria, they're gonna kill Juan, no problem. There's only one thing that can happen for KJ to win this match. It's the base 3% dual attack off of Flan. This was the only correct play for him to make, and he hits the 3%, and he manages to win the match, which is unlucky. Not much you can really do there. Let's just go to the next game. So then this final match is interesting. He decides to go with Frida Robin, like, kind of cleave into all of this stuff. So we can go ahead and take a look at how this actually goes. BBK and Celine get banned. Celine has to get banned, because otherwise the if he bans BBK, which did happen, the Celine S2 would go into Robin and kill her. Unfortunately, he just straight up gets outsped. So that's unlucky. Yeah, he just gets outsped. So his Robin gets silenced. And then the match, it doesn't go well. Let's just say that. It doesn't go very well. As for what would have happened if he went first, you can see that it was like, I think it says 99%. It's 99%. It was very, very close. If he went first, what would have happened? There's no Arias on this team, but there's nothing to mitigate the damage at all. Aram would have procced her S2 for the Vigor buff, so that would have been a bit more defense. But Frida can S3, that would have pushed everybody up. Sage Ball gets his CR boost from one of his passives, and then Tenebria can S3 and stun the, or maybe not necessarily stun, but it's provoke, sleep, or stun. So no matter what, as long as the debuff lands and the strip, Sage Ball isn't going to get to actually CC. And you can also see the Tenebria Soulburn S1 is what lets Robin get the swift attack here, because you need somebody with extra turn to give her swift attack. And you can see the S3 here. He does manage to strip and get the redirected provoke. So that part, the RNG, worked out in his favor there, just not the speed RNG. Now there's the question of, would Robin have been able to kill everything here if he did outspeed? It would depend on Death Break RNG. Robin's S3 does Death Break, and if she lands a Death Break, her damage is ridiculous. Like, this Robin probably has 4,000 attack, plus attack buff, and with her artifact, her S2 would land 3 burns. Tori has immunity, but Tori solo into all of this is probably not going to look too hot, especially once her immunity wears off. So it would depend on if she Death Breaks or not. Like, Aram is dead already because she's Death Broken, but Sage Ball and Festivita, I think, would need a Death Break in order to kill them. So if he did outspeed, I think it would have went okay. Tori probably, like, kills Robin, and then you just whittle down Tori, and the match would end. But that's it for all of the stuff from the World Cup. In the end, he did not outspeed, and he lost. Unfortunate, but this World Cup was really, really fun. We had some... The Lunatic format is great. You start seeing some crazy stuff once you get deep enough, and it's nice to just see all the pre-bans stack up and not have to see the same stuff every single match. But that's it for me, and I'll see you guys next time.